Hello, and thank you for watching and listening to another episode of Unmedicated and Educated with Keita Rose. I'm Keita Rose, and here we deep dive, dissect, and sometimes diagnose, because it seems everyone, including myself, I am never excluded, has lost their damn minds. If you are new here, thank you so much for giving me a try. If you're an OG, then you already know what the is going on. Like, share, subscribe, talk shit in my comments, tell me how you really feel. And I'm gonna tell you guys how I feel about season 5, episode 34 of Love After Lockup. That's right, you guys. You are now listening to and watching another reality Oh, I'm dizzy. So you guys, this week we start off with Zariah and Troy. Now, if you remember, Zariah gave all her gifts to her king. He was getting out of jail.
And I got the crown because, you the king.
Your king is home. That's fire.
They're very excited to spend some time together. Zariah woke up with Troy and she says that she is not disappointed in the sex because the whole time Troy was in the slammer, he kept telling her for some reason he had a small dinkle-donger. And so she was really nervous about that. Now, mind you, they're already married, so there's not much that, she can do. Whatever pop out his pants, you gotta work with, you know what I mean? Unless you go ahead and file for divorce and run away. She was telling us how he's actually pretty normal size. He has a pretty good sized penis. He worked it, and she is not disappointed, which is great because they're already married. So after sex, they start to get ready because they're about to go over to Z's house. Now, Troy has yet to meet her son, Israel, but for the past 5 or 6 years, Israel's been calling like Troy dad, and they've been, I guess, bonding over the phone. As soon as they walk through the door, Israel jumps, screams, "Dad!" right? And runs and jumps into Troy's arms. And I'm not even gonna hold you. That was a sweet moment. I know I talk a lot about how, the kids don't really know these men, and I stand on that. The kids don't know these men. But for the past 5 or 6 years, if this is the only voice he's heard and the only direction he's had when it comes to a father figure, then naturally he's gonna be excited to see him. And seeing that moment where they were finally reconnected or connected was pretty beautiful, I'm not gonna lie. And so Z pulls Troy to the side and she's like, well, I got this gift that I want you to give Israel. And he gets the gift. He's so excited. He thinks it's from Troy. Everybody's happy. It's a beautiful moment. But Israel becomes sad because she tells him that he has to go stay at grandma's house tonight. Not only because the couple needs some privacy, but Z actually went behind Troy's back and asked his mother if it was okay if she'd come down because Z feels like Troy and his mother do not have the best relationship. And so because it is his mother, they need to figure out a way to reconcile, and he needs to figure out a way to, love, honor, and respect his mother again. Now, I completely disagreed with Z, and this whole scene kind of made me mad because he doesn't have a relationship with his mom. He said that when he was about 3 or 4, his mom dropped him off at a friend's house and then never came back. And that level of abandonment can do a lot to a human being, especially in their adult years, especially when they have to show up in a relationship. You might find that people have triggers. They don't want to be abandoned. They feel anxious. They don't know what you're doing when you're not texting them back or talking. It might be because as a child, they felt abandoned. The 2 people, mommy and daddy, that were supposed to be there weren't there. Now, Troy's dad was there. He said that he often spent time between his aunts and friends and his dad, right? So his dad also helped raise him. It's something about that maternal love, that knowing that the one person that you came out of doesn't want anything to do with you, never made an attempt to have a relationship with him. Yeah, like he feels some type of way. On top of that, she wasn't around during his whole stint in prison.
She doesn't act like a mother. And I lost my father. That was a big piece of me.
Let me know in the comments, guys. Is it like, hey, it's your mom and your dad, and no matter what they do, you need to at least give them grace because nobody is perfect and the world is hard? Or is it, no, you knew what you were doing when you had a child, and there are other ways you could have went about, raising your child or even giving your child up for adoption or giving your child to somebody else rather than abandoning them or being on drugs around them or, being in a domestic violence relationship around them. Like, there are other ways you could have went about parenting, and you kind of need to hold that accountability for the rest of your life. What do you guys think in the comments? Let me know. So then we have True and Shantae. And remember, they got into a big fight in the car. Shantae stormed out the car, asked the producers to please take off the microphone. She called him an idiot. Shantae had enough because they just aren't seeing eye to eye. It's been 2 days since True has been out, and they had sex for 3 hours.
It was so good because I waited. And then when I was up in that thing, I really hurted it.
He said that he hurted it. That's right, you guys. I know you're looking at me like, what are you talking about? Hurt it. He said he was gonna not spank it, not beat it up, not box it down, not lick you up and lick you down. He said he was gonna hurt it, like physically harm her coochie. It wasn't bad enough that when they woke up, I mean, Shantae was the only one in the bed and True was gone, and told the producers and everybody that would listen that he's out of prison now and he doesn't have to check in with anybody. She's feeling weird. She's feeling like they aren't connecting. They don't have really good chemistry anymore. They're really fighting. And True goes,
You know, Shantae is taking this parole a little bit too serious. Like, yeah, I'm on probation, parole, whatever, but like, let me do my thing, bro. I'm free now.
she doesn't feel like he loves her. She doesn't feel like he cares about her. She doesn't feel like he understands that money is really important. Remember that Shantae had lost her job and now she's trying to keep herself afloat, her kids afloat, and this grown-ass 31-year-old, 32-year-old man afloat, you know, because he's just gotten out of prison, so he doesn't have any money. And she just doesn't feel very appreciated.
You feel like I'm what? Caring about you? Yeah. In one way. A lot of ways you don't. If you're not even listening to what I'm saying half the time.
So True basically lets her know, like, hey, listen, I don't know where this is going. I feel like we fight too much. I don't like that we argue so much. I kind of just want to go with the flow and do my own thing. And she's like, True, what does that mean? Does that mean that we're going to stay friends? Does that mean that we're going to remain engaged? Because right now they're engaged. Does that mean we're still getting married? Or are we going to date? What are we doing? So True's like, well, what do you want to do? Like, I don't know, because I can tell that he really doesn't want to hurt her. He said that men in prison have a reputation of just, you know, doing that jail talk, saying what they need to say in order to get what they need. And then when they get out, they abandon the people that always held them down or would send them money. And he doesn't want to be that type of man. So he doesn't just want to leave her, and he doesn't want her to feel like he's just walking away and abandoning the relationship. But, you know, Shantae says, hey, it's up to you. You tell me what you want from this. And I think she's just growing tired of the fact that he's very, very lazy and immature. So then we move on to Kim, remember, who's like a teacher's aide, and Joey, right? And so Kim and Joey are finally about to have sex. Kim was telling us that she's kind of self-conscious about her body, but Joey's like,
Kim look beautiful. She always look beautiful. Kim has always looked beautiful to me. She gorgeous to me. She had always looked beautiful.
And so what I got from both of them was that, you know, Kim and Joey have always had really good sex. Joey knows exactly what to do to get Kim's rooster roostering. And so they're happy with each other. So now they're about to, you know, pack everything up. It's around Christmas time. So they're on the way to Kim's house so that Joey can meet the kids and give them Christmas gifts, and they can really just experience family together as a couple. Remember, Kim's going to divorce her second husband, her second ex-husband, and she's going to be Joey's first wife, and I think Joey's gonna be Kim's third husband. So just a really beautiful dynamic. Now, Joey says that he doesn't want to do ecstasy, heroin, and cocaine anymore. He just wants to be there for Kim, love on her, and be a daddy to her children. I just want to know if you're really able to be that daddy that you claim that you want to be. So many people want to sit up here and say, I'll be a step parent, I'll be this, I'll be that, I'm ready to be a dad, I'm ready to do this and that, but they're not even functioning in life. If you're not functioning in life, do know, please do know that if you are not functioning in life, if you are not exactly, I won't say exactly where you want to be, because I feel like all of us want to thrive, but if you're not in a place to give a comfortable life to someone else, do not have children. It really irritated me at the start of their segment because, you know, Kim was like, oh yeah, we didn't use protection. And Joey's like, I never use protection. I always shoot up the club. Let's have a baby. And they're really seriously talking about possibly having a little girl because Kim already has 2 little boys. And I fear that these people don't really quite understand what it takes to raise a kid in a functional environment. Like I said earlier, coming from a household where my parents actually gave effort, I understand that a lot of people don't even get the bare minimum. Some people do get the bare minimum, but then it's thrown in their face like, do you know what I did for you? There's so many other people that aren't giving the bare minimum. Hey, you didn't die and you had your own room. So I did what I needed to do as a parent, and like couldn't be so far from the truth. You know, it's a really sad situation. I won't ever talk about nobody's eggs, but Lord, put a pause on Kim's until she can figure out which man she actually wants to stay married to. Joey and Kim were talking about a time where they used to be together before Joey was in jail, and how Kim would have to sneak off from her man to go see Joey. And you know, Kim basically said that she was married and he had cheated on her, so she didn't want to be in the relationship anymore, which is why she revenge cheated with Joey. But then after she had sex with Joey, she found out that her husband at the time, or it's still her husband, maybe was the baby daddy. So then she tried to make it work with him, but then that didn't work. So she reconnected with Joey in prison, and now they're getting out, and she needs to divorce this man in order to marry Joey. And it just seems like a whole bunch of dysfunction. It's dysfunctional soup, and I'll be having no servings of it, thank you.
So ring the alarm, because we got another nutcase.
That's right, just when you thought it was over, we just getting started. We got a couple new nutcases. We got one called Bianca and one called Daniel. Now, Bianca is 23 and she's unemployed, and Daniel is 31, right? So like what, 8 years older than Bianca. And he was charged with aggravated DUI and third-degree burglary. And so he's been in jail for 4 years. We've got ourselves a winner, folks. He's been in jail for 4 years. They've been dating for about 8 months. They're getting married, and they believe that their connection is strong because they haven't had sex yet. This is one thing I noticed when we talk to couples, because we talk to couples a lot, and we hear, some of the questions that they ask. And a lot of it is like, my partner isn't pleasing me. My partner isn't doing what I want them to do. Or maybe, the penis is small. They're basically unsatisfied in bed. A lot of the times we'll say that sexual compatibility is very important, right? Like, it is extremely important to be sexually attracted to one another and able to fulfill each other's desires, sexually. However, I'd like to argue an emotional and a mental and an educational connection, I'm calling it an intellectual connection, is more important than sex. And I know a lot of people are like, girl, get out of here. I got to get my cookie busted 3 times a day or 3 times a week. And I just love that everybody has such a high libido, a high sex drive. However, when it comes down to whether or not you want to be with this person for the rest of your life, whether or not you trust this person's decision-making skills, whether or not you want these people around your family members or possibly helping you raise kids, I think it's more important to see if we gonna click in other ways. Because sex is easy, right? You know how to hit it, you know how to stroke, you know how to do A, B, C, and D. Sex is easy. But do you know how to read? If I need you to read to me, would you be able to do that? How many times do you go to a dentist a year? These are questions I don't think anybody's asking. So basically, Bianca's talking to her friend, and her friend is like, so you're just gonna up and, pack all of your stuff and go to Arizona to be with him? Because apparently Bianca's from Florida, and Daniel can't parole to Florida. He has to parole to Arizona, and so that's where they're gonna go. She decides to get a 4-month lease in Arizona. She's gonna be alone for about 30 days by herself before Daniel comes out, and he's supposed to go into a halfway home. But Daniel says he don't want to go to no damn halfway home. He gonna go to the home that she's providing for him. That's right. You heard me. This 23-year-old is providing a home, security, a lifestyle for this 31-year-old convicted felon. Absolutely. I love that. If that don't scream love, I don't know.
I want the best for her, but I just don't think that this is the best for her. I am very scared that she's making a rash decision.
Her friend doesn't think that she's making the right choice, and you can kind of see Bianca getting very irritated, She's like, hey, listen, I don't know. I'm in love with him. He's everything to me. He was there when I experienced some of my trauma, and I want to be with this man. I'm in love with this man. Just back off a little. And it's like, I'm trying to help you, but some friends you can't help. Some friends, you gotta watch them set their whole lives on fire from a distance. And whether or not you pull up a seat or eat some popcorn or you cry to yourself because you're looking at such wasted potential, right? Such waste of a talent, of a soul. But no matter, you have to go on about your life, because to some people, accountability feels a lot like an attack. I know some of us are wondering, how does Bianca have enough money to do all this? She's 23 years old. Well, it turns out that Bianca was in a very traumatic, and everything is really traumatic traumatic to Bianca. This is something that's important to note. She feels like every single thing that has ever inconvenienced her is traumatic. Now, this specific situation happens to be traumatic, but as you hear her talk through her stories, you'll realize that everything is quite traumatic for Mrs. Bianca. So she was at a party, she got drunk, and so she got into the car with her friend, and she didn't realize that her friend was also drunk, probably because she was drunk. So her friend ends up driving up the airport ramp, going the wrong way and crashing the car. They were in a very bad accident. Bianca had to go through a multitude of surgery. She lost her voice for about 3 months, and during her recovery, she decided to reach out to pen pals. She didn't think that she'd ever be able to talk again, so she started to reach out to pen pals, and that's just something that I want to note, because a lot of people say, my prisoner was there for me. This man, my inmate, was there for me. And it's like, if ever you are looking for somebody to be there for you while you're in a bad space in your life, you might, and this is going to sound so bad, but you might want to leave them after you are not in that space anymore. And I know a lot of you are like, Keita, oh my God, why would you say that? This is why. So she says that she went on the pen pal website and specifically searched up criminals that have been charged with DUIs.
I was specifically looking to write someone that had a DUI offense. I just wanted to maybe see if someone could relate to me.
I understand the correlation, but I'm trying to figure it out. I got into an accident because of a drunk driver, and so now I want to connect with a possible drunk driver so that they can understand me a little bit more. And it's like, I don't know if the person that got really messed up one day and decided to bust a wheelie on the highway can understand somebody that was deeply impacted by a drunk driver, but maybe I'm missing something. Now, she says that she's not allowed to tell us how much money she may or may not have received from the settlement, but she's really comfortable and has already spent about $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, whatever amount of dollars on Daniel and on this relationship with this 31-year-old man that she met 8 months ago. Good gamut. So we're back to Z and Troy. So Troy drives up to where he's supposed to be meeting his mom, and she's so excited to see him. They share a moment. You can tell that he still loves his mother despite whatever she may or may not have, taken him through. Basically, he asks her, why weren't you there? And she's like, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. It was the alcohol. Like, she's blaming it on the alcohol. You know what I mean? She says that she needed to change some patterns in her life, and she needed to get out of that addiction, to break that addiction, because her and Hennessy and other alcohols made her act really, violent, made her act really ugly, and she doesn't want to be that person anymore. And she even offers him some advice with his marriage. She says, if it don't fit, don't force it, right? Like, if you and your wife can't figure it out and you guys don't naturally fit, then don't try to force anything so that you prolong the inevitable. Just go ahead and let things go prior to it becoming destructive. And
If it don't fit, don't force it. That's all I can say. It's a lot of things you have to do, but you have to do it one step at a time. You rush stuff, you crash.
So hopefully they can work it out. I'm still not okay with Z being like, go talk to your mama, even though she abandoned you. You should still love her and treat her with respect, even though she did not respect you as a child. But I need to, just work on that within myself, because I know that a lot of people deserve grace. And I know that once somebody tries, all they can do is say sorry in a sense, because even though sorry doesn't fix anything, all they can do is say sorry in a sense, because it's already happened. We can't go back, unfortunately, through time and change certain decisions. So whatever it is now, it just is. So Kim and Joey are still bragging about how good their sex was, and they're on their way to go to Kim's family house. Joey's mom's going to meet them there, and they're going to be able to spend some quality time during the holidays with each other, right? So Joey wants Kim to stop off at a toy store because he doesn't want to be empty-handed when he meets the children, his new stepchildren, right? Dad has home from jail. No, you haven't seen me. I know I look different from the other men in your life, but I'm here and I come bearing gifts. And so he's in the toy store and he realizes how expensive everything is. He's like, oh my God, welcome to capitalism and parenting. Toys are like $80. Video games are $90. Special edition Pokemon cards are gonna run you $130. You're gonna have to sell dope or booty in order to provide for one child. She has two, and you guys are trying right before you get a job, actively trying to have another one. This is crazy. He gets all the stuff. The total comes out to about $318. He doesn't care. He hops in the car. Kim's like, how much was it? And Joey responds by saying it was $318, but it's not a big deal, you know? Anything for the kids. When it comes to kids, they can have whatever they want. And it's like, you already see that he doesn't make good decisions. He didn't even ask how much the budget was and how much he was allotted to spend of not his money, of your money, Kim.
I mean, I'm a single mom and a teacher's assistant that makes $15 an hour. So I don't really have that kind of money to be spending. I need him to understand we don't sell dope.
Kim says she made $15 an hour, and you just sat up there and spent $318 that you're going to give to her kids that you reference as dogs, but she can't wait to marry you. Okay. Well, you know what? There's someone for everybody. So we're back to Bird Brain Bianca, and she's talking to her best friend, Andres. And, you know, she says that basically her best friend went through a lot, and she also went through a lot because her parents divorced when she was young, and that was crazy traumatic for her. So the two really were able to trauma bond because, you know, Andres had an addiction, and he was an alternative, and he also had to go to rehab, and a lot was happening with him. And what I'm noticing, the pattern that I'm noticing with Bianca is that she likes to trauma bond and hang out with people that are going through a lot of things and that are very lowly in life, right? They're very lowered in life. So Andres wants to know a little bit about what's going on, and Bianca lets him know that, you know, Daniel doesn't want to go to a halfway house, and so she's thinking that he's just going to live with her. And Andres, rightfully so, was very concerned and said, no, he has to go to that halfway house. It has to happen.
No, not Mike. He has to stay in the halfway.
Yeah, he has to stay.
Or he's going to go back to prison.
I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but...
No, that's the case.
Well, what else? And he's like, yeah, he got a couple kids or he got kids. And Andres is like, well, are you willing to be a stepmom? And she's like, well, I mean, I'm sure he'll do all that stuff, you know, and I'll just be there. But like, yeah, I'm willing to do that. Another one who's like, yeah, sure, I'll take on the role to care about these kids that I actually don't give a shit about. Sure. So Daniel calls her while she's in the car with Andres, and Andres wants to talk to him. Andres is like, are you going to treat, you know, my friend right? Daniel's like, sure, I'll treat her like a beauty queen. Okay. He's like, well, are you going to stay at the halfway house? And Daniel's like, man,
fuck no, man. Fuck no. I ain't staying there. Haven't you been there?
And Andres is like, yeah, I've been there before, and that's how come I know you have to stay there like it's a part of the rules. And Daniel's like,
I don't give a damn about the rules. I'm not staying there.
Andres feels like he's a jackass, he's irresponsible, and he doesn't care, and that his friend Bianca can do better, but I beg to differ. And yeah, that's the situation. Daniel's like, everybody see the world differently, bro. Like, you see the world as you gotta, like, follow rules and do what authority says. But, like, I see the world where I don't do that. So I don't know if Bianca called Daniel's family or Daniel's family called Bianca, but they ended up on the phone. And, you know, Daniel's mom is like, don't listen to Daniel's dad. He's crazy. And Daniel's dad's like, well, are you mentally stable to be with my son? And Andres and Bianca were very offended by this. They're like, I don't like that he asked that question, but honestly, if somebody that has been knowing your significant other longer than you is asking you if you're mentally stable enough to be in this relationship because this man is about to drag your little dumbass through the ringer. I know we get really offended when the family members of the person that we're dating or the person that we're married to has something to say and we're immediately defensive, like, you don't know me and you don't know the bond we have. But the one thing they know is the person that you're with and the person that you're claiming you want to spend your life with. That's the one thing that they know, right? And so if they're saying things like, I'd run away. I had an ex's mother tell me one time, Keto, run. And you know what? I didn't run. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm in love with your son. I love this family. And you know what I should have did? I should have laced up my huaraches and ran, but I didn't. Right? And so sometimes it isn't they hating on you or they don't want to see you and him happy. Sometimes they're like, hey, the last girl went to the psychiatric hospital. Are you gonna be good? Is you strong enough? How is you cool? So then we end the episode off with True and Shonta. So remember, Shonta gave him that choice. Well, what do you want to do? Or do you want to break up with me and not be engaged anymore and just be friends? Do you want to date and build, or do you want to just, let it go? What do you want? And True's like, I think I want to date, bro. Like, I want to date with you. We just went from engaged to dating. Okay, so that to me is we just broke up, and I might still hang out with you sometimes, but on the cool, I'ma go see what them other men outside is talking about. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but if you would take your focus off your partner for just 5 seconds, the partner that's toxic, the partner that you don't want to be with, the partner that you know is bad for you, not the partner that you're in love with, not the guy or girl that's really doing everything they can to keep the relationship together, not those people. I'm talking about the people you know damn well you should have never met. If you take your focus off those people, there are niggas outside. There are men outside. There are other men that might be going through a breakup, divorce, might be widowed, you know, the ex-wife kicked the bucket, so now they're available. There are other options, and there will always be better options as long as you're bettering yourself. That's something to keep in mind. And so True is like, yeah, I just want to be, you know, dating. Shantae's like, are we dating exclusively? And he's like, well, I'm not going to cheat on you. I'm not going to hurt you, bro. I love you, you know? But yeah, I'm going to do my own thing. But I still want to go back home and parole at your house. Shantae's like, well, why do you want to come back to Independence with me? Like, why do you want to come back to my house?
Like, why do you want to go to Independence with me?
The obvious answer is because I don't have anywhere else to go and you've been giving me money. But, you know, True's like, I still want to see if we can work. I think that we just need to take a step back. What True said made a lot of sense. And I didn't think I was ever going to say that. But True made a lot of sense. He's like, listen, when I was in jail for the past 4 years, you never came and saw me. You should have came and you should have saw me. But instead you stayed in your comfort zone and you were on the phone with me. And then we're going to wonder why it doesn't work out. It'll never work out. That type of dynamic will never work out. And so if I was Shantae, I would say, no, you can't come back to Independence with me. And I think that you should just go ahead and go with your mama since that's what you wanted to do in the first place. Also, when I call you, you can come over sometimes when I need a little itch that needs to be scratched. But honestly, Shantae wasn't a very sexual person anyway. And I think that this heartbreak is going to really make her reserved with the kitty cat. So I don't see her going out and thoughting or even calling him up for a sneaky link. A lot of people would disagree with me, but if we break up, then I might have to demote you down to sneaky link. I don't know. I know. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever been with somebody, engaged with somebody, and then demoted them down to sneaky link? Or once you're done, you're done. And once it's over, it just needs to be done. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. True says that he feels relief that he was finally honest with Shantae because he didn't want to hurt her feelings, but he thinks that she'll be okay. Meanwhile, Shantae is on an emotional roller coaster and doesn't know how to handle life or what to do. It is a mess. So that wraps up this recap, season 5, episode 34. Are you mentally stable? Of Love After Lockup. Let me know what couple you think is gonna make it. Let me know what couple you think is gonna break. And until next time, baby, I'll holla.